Shabbat Shalom, Yasharallah. We are in week 4, gospel portion, covering chapter 7 and 8 of the book of Matthew with inserts from the other gospels and, of course, other precepts and references throughout our reading. Let's get started with a prayer. Heavenly Abba, thank you for allowing us to be joined together to have a holy convocation in your name. And in your name, Father, that we allow us to speak truth and to walk in truth and to teach others to do the same as we are commanded. And give us the wisdom and the discernment to make sure we are in truth, Abba. Correct us from any of our transgressions, any of our mistakes, any misguided paths that we are walking in right now, to present ourselves as white and clean before you, repented and atoned for. We thank you for sending the Lamb to atone for our eternal sins, Heavenly Father, and to walk in his ways. And in his name, Yeshaya, Amen. Because this is for Messiah, Messiah, Messiah. Gospel portion, the story of our Mashiach in the flesh. We will be starting off in Matthew chapter 7. Let me share a screen here. So, the screen finally changed. If you look, I got it green this week. I don't know if y'all see what I'm doing, my little artsy flavor I'm adding. So I'm adding this to a playlist on my YouTube, right? And in the playlist, it will be going down the line. So I am changing the colors with the rainbow. I'm making a rainbow effect on my playlist in my gospel portions. So I'm just obviously changing what chapters we're on, and I'm changing it, giving us the covenant, the color of the covenant. All right, enough of that fun fact right there. Let's get started on our reading. Y'all know the deal. We'll be making some stops here and there to give understanding, precepts, and references. So let's begin. We're at the portion now. We're still pretty much at Messiah just preaching. So it's not really in a story mode right now. It's just like parables and wisdom being bestowed upon the listeners, including us right now. And I want to say that because I don't have a lot of pulling from the other gospels, because like I said, I'm not trying to be repetitive. So from when Luke and Mark, and mostly Luke and Mark, where it's being repetitive in these teachings, I'm not going to include it, because like I said, I'm not trying to repeat the same things. And that's why this Torah portion is going to be a little bit shorter than the rest, because it's just him speaking his parables and his teachings. So let's just listen and learn.
Matthew 7. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? For how wilt thou say to thy brother, Let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you.
All right. Let me see here. So we have, let's see. Sorry, 1 second. Just looking for a verse here. I forgot to add wanted to add, yes, James here for the judge. So we hear that so much in Christianity about do not judge, and it's mostly from this verse right here, and it's totally taken horribly out of context. So I totally forgot to add these verses right here. James 4:11, speak not evil one another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother and judges his brother speaketh evil of the law and judges the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. And so this is just knowing your place, that you're not above the law, and we are judged according to the law. There is righteous judgment, as we read in Proverbs 31. Oh, is it 31? Yeah, Proverbs 31. Open thy mouth for the dumb and the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. So we are to judge, but and how do we judge righteously? We judge according to the law. And what is that? So if you are correcting someone and judging someone because they're eating pork, but they said they're a follower, we're to judge the matter as unrighteous, and we're not to condemn the person, but we're condemning their actions, because that person can be repentive of their actions and move forward, so they're not condemned if they are just now coming into understanding, and so on. And then we also, looking into verse 6 here, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. The Hebrew translation has an interesting wording of verse 6. Let's look at the Hebrew translation here. Yahshua Mashiach said to his disciples, you must not speak about the set apart writings, so the scriptures, before the refusing animals. Wow. That gives a different perspective of understanding, right? So we have, neither cast ye your pearls before swine. So what's that mean? It means this: do not speak about the set apart writings before the refusing animals. Don't force it down their throats if they don't want it. Very straightforward, right? And yes, Joseph, if you're going to preach and judge by the Torah, that means you better be keeping the Torah. And that's why it talks about also, to that point, just backtracking about the judgment, why it says about the plank, the beam, was it, let me pull out the mote out of thy eye before a beam is in thy own eye, thou hypocrite. So yes, that's what this whole passage is about. And this is what it's talking about, judging righteously, because you can't be judging someone by the law when you're not keeping the law. Yes. But yes, in verse 6, I just like that translation a lot. It makes a lot of sense in the Hebrew here. And let's read the rest. So let me read it one more time. You must not speak about the set apart writings before the refusing animals, and not bring the precious words before the pigs, that they do not trample them and tear them. I really do like this translation. It just gives it more of a basic understanding instead of like the riddle of tossing pearls before swine. That's a full-blown riddle right there. But this is more in layman's terms. Right, exactly, Tara. Yahshua said, follow me. He didn't put nobody in yokes and chains and made them follow them. He says, follow me and keep my commandments. All of them, right? If you want me to read that verse, Bruce, copy and paste it in the comments. Not going to go searching for it right now, bro. But we're going to keep reading. All right. So, yeah, just 6 verses in. Judge righteously according to the law if you're keeping the law, or you're a hypocrite. And then do not toss the words of this Torah and law before the unwanting, because they will trample them under their feet. Verse 7 on.
Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you, whom if his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets.
Love it. Oh, what a setup. We just read that you must not speak about the set apart writings before the refusing animals. And then what's the very next line? Ask and it shall be given you. How beautiful is that? Everything he's talking about, he's saying those that refuse will never get the truth, because you have to want it and you have to ask for it. And I just love the word, like we know how to give good gifts. Of course, our Father in heaven knows how to give gifts to his children. Don't question Abba. Love it. Verse 13.
Enter ye in at the strait gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
All right. I wanted to just make a clear understanding here. I see a lot of people that, at least in this translation, because, oh, is my internet okay? It's telling me it's unstable. Let me know real quick before I continue. Okay, great. I don't know why it told me that then, but glad we're good. All right. Enter ye in at the strait gate. You see it's spelled different for a reason, but many people still, they go in their mind and they think straight like an arrow. So I just wanted to give understanding here. All right, the Strong's Concordance definition, we see that straight can also mean narrow, not like a straight line, more like a narrow passage. And then we see here narrow or from obstacles standing close about, straight. And then we get the geographic definition here. A strait is a narrow body. This is why you get the words being similar, because they are similar. Narrow body of water that connects two larger bodies of water from obstacles standing close about. See that? That's the idea of what a water strait is. When two lands are close about and it's narrow passage. Not, like I said, straight line. That means a very thin line, a narrow line. Just giving understanding. All right. Verse 15. Let's see. All right. Yeah, we're good to go. Verse 15.
Beware false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them.
And when you read the book of Leviticus from, I mean, especially Second Esdras, Leviticus, I mean, a lot of the books about judgment, not Leviticus, excuse me, just got done reading the Torah portion of Leviticus on my mind, but Revelation, the book of Revelation is what I meant to say. It talks about the harvest. You have multiple different harvests, and it tells us that everyone that is not a part of either a barley or the wheat, it will be cast into the fire because they bring forth evil fruit or no fruit, which is one and the same for the kingdom. If you don't bring forth any fruit, then that means you're a sloth. That means you don't do anything. And if you bring forth bad fruit, then obviously your actions are evil. Verse 21.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
All right. This is a big verse right here. For us coming from the church. Very big verse. Not everyone that says unto me, Adon, Adon, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. When we look, so you see, we see what's going on with Messiah's preaching right here, y'all. He talks about the road being narrow, and then he talks about the evil folks, false prophets, those bringing forth evil fruit or bad fruit, I should say, because of their evil ways. And then he goes into maybe not those that are just definitely outright evil, but those that are not his, that are blinded, and they may be unknowing of their evilness, and they think they're serving him, but they're not, because of why? They do wonderful works, maybe like casting out devils, demons, maybe helping the poor, but those works aren't necessarily works that make you righteous. Works that make you righteous is keeping the Sabbath day and the feast days and all the other things in the Torah. Yes, we want to give to the poor. Yes, casting out demons is great, but if you're not teaching the law, then those demons are just going to come back. If you're not teaching growth, then you a growth of the kingdom, then you got to be doing the opposite. You only can serve one master. And so we're going to look into iniquity here. Let's make it clear. This word iniquity. Unrighteousness, transgress the law, transgression of the law. This is what iniquity is. It tells you, I mean, it can't get any more clear than this. It can't. The condition of without law. We see the same difference of violation of the law is in the same definition of unrighteousness. So that's what I'm saying. If you're not keeping the Torah, then you can't be righteous. This is very clear when you have eyes to see. No, bringing forth good fruit has nothing to do with the outcomes. It has everything to do with the choice you made in whatever work you're doing for the kingdom. You only can do what you can control. You can give money to the poor, but you can't control what the poor spends their money on. You can keep the Sabbath, but you can't control someone around you. I mean, so you only, the works is your works. It's not based on what outcome you get from it. But this is the definition of iniquity. And I also wanted to bring up, let's look up 2 Peter. This is a good connection verse that I just thought of when we're talking about iniquity. We go to 2 Peter when he's talking about Paul's epistles. When we go to that, we'll see. Let's see. Let me see. I think it's the same word. Let me see what the word is. G458. Let me see. Hold on, maybe I'm looking at the wrong verse. What's the word in here that means? Let me see. One of these words means iniquity of unkeeping the law. Can't remember. 1 second. Let me read over it. Like I said, this is on the spot. I did not have this in my notes. Okay, here we go. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also, being led away with error of wickedness, of the wicked, fall from your own steadfastness. Pretty sure it's this one right here, verse 17. This is G113. I think it's this one. See if I'm right. Boom. The word wicked written here is a word that means one who breaks the restraint of law. Lawless. What do you know? So in in 2 Peter, right after talking about Paul's epistles and those that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also being led away with error of the lawlessness. Wicked is lawlessness. Fall from your own steadfastness. It's all there. It's all there. He's telling you beforehand. In Peter and in Matthew, he's telling you the law that the Tanakh, the law of the prophets is speaking of. If you do not follow that, you will not be remembered. You're not his. I mean, he makes it very crystal clear. Matthew 7:21 through 23. All right.
Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes.
So we see the parable. We have a parable that we just read right here that's also in Luke. We're doing some comparisons. This isn't much of a comparison, worded slightly different, but we'll show it. I show that there is one interesting comparison here, is that we know that Matthew is talking to Yasharala. He's talking to the Jews at the time. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, this is all he says, because the Jews hears the law and the prophets, and they're hearing Messiah. The Messiah is there in front of them. And then the elect, the bride, may not necessarily be right in front of Messiah. It could be one of us, right? And I think it's interesting, the major difference I see that's in the parable in Luke that is mostly for the elect / bride. He says, whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings. I just think that's very intimate, that he's talking to those, because the Jews are already in front of him. They're already a part of the covenant. They're already there. The bride is those that come in to him, that choose him, regardless of Gentile or Jew. The bride is the closest, in those that are let inside the wedding chambers of the bridegroom, that cometh to him. And the rest of it's pretty much the same, just a small little comparison right there from Matthew to Luke with that parable. All right, and in reading Luke 7, this is just more of the teachings that is not mentioned in Matthew. We're going to read 36 to 50. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with him. And he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner. And when she knew that Yasha sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with ointment. And when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spoke within himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that touches him, for she is a sinner. And Yasha answering said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he says, Master, say on. There was a certain creditor which had 2 debtors. The one owed 500 pence, and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Now tell me, therefore, which of them will love him most? Simon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged. And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, Seest thou this woman? I entered into thy house. Thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she has washed my feet with tears and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, has not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman has anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And she said unto her, and he said unto her, Thy sins are forgiven. And they that sat at meat with him began to say within themselves, who is that, this that forgiveth sins also? And he said to the woman, thy faith has saved thee. Go in peace. Beautiful, beautiful. Messiah is such a great teacher. At least those that have ears and eyes to see it here. All right. Matthew chapter 8. Let's read.
Matthew 8. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus saith unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them.
All right, let's go to that reference of Moses commanding the gift of the cleansing after the cleansing of leprosy. In my Torah portions, we just covering this in the prior week. But let's read Leviticus 14, 2 and 3, then 10. This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper. And then there's a lot of other things that happen, but we're just going to cut to the gift offering, that the offer the gift that Moshe commanded. So we're going to go to the gift now after the cleansing. Verse 10, and on the 8th day he shall take 2 he lambs without blemish, and 1 ill lamb of the first year without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. So this is what Messiah was telling him to go do. Go keep the Torah, he told him. Now you're cleansed, go keep the Torah. Well, technically, I believe he still had to wait 7 days. And then on the 8th day, he would give that offering. But either way, he was telling him go keep the Torah. All right, verse 5.
And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the self-same hour.
All right, we're just going to look at a comparison in verse 12 for the Hebrew translation. Everything that you want that men should do to you, you must do to them. This is the Torah. Oh, no, I'm about to say it's the wrong chapter. I'm about to say I just read that. 12, chapter 8. But many of the sons of Yasharallah will be humiliated outside in darkness. So we were looking at what, verse 12. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So, I mean, man, we see a lot of so-called Hebrew Israelites that, I mean, the Torah even tells you to be kind to the stranger, and they're just ruthless. They say nobody's going to enter the kingdom but them. They're very egotistic, prideful, belittling to others. And Messiah said it, but many of the sons of Yasharallah will be outside in darkness, where they will be weeping and trembling. No, I don't know how people get the idea that who you are in the flesh is what saves you. I have no idea. But that's the point, is that they are under a possession, demonic possession of pride. Just like the children of Yasharallah in the past were, once they were given the land and given the freedom and given kingship, they were like, well, we good because we them. Like, I'm him, I'm her, I'm good. The Most High loves me because he made me an Israelite. That ain't how it works. You know, the Most High's love is conditional. You have to call upon him. You have to obey him. You have to submit yourself. And in doing so, that means you can't walk around like you somebody like that. And there is many that do, unfortunately. But this has been prophesied, so it is what it is. It's just coming into fruition. All righty. Verse 14.
And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her. And she arose and ministered unto them. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils. And he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Esaias the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities, and bare our sicknesses. Now,
all right, this is Isaiah 53. For surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. Oh man, that Isaiah 53 chapter is deep. It's deep. All about Mashiach. There ain't nobody else that it's about. I mean, good gracious. Ain't nobody even come remotely close to fulfilling the prophecies in Isaiah 53. Not even remotely close. Nobody else has done this for mankind. Love it, Joseph. What's that? Hezekiah, right? You talking about don't let Isaiah 53 go over your head. I know what you're talking about. For real though, for real. It's as deep as you want to go with it. That is a pretty big chapter for my the gospel study for Messiah coming up here. All right, verse 18.
When Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. Then Jesus saith unto him, Foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead.
And just to give understanding, let the dead bury the dead. That means the dead in spirit. All right. Dead in spirit, bury the dead. Those that are workers of light, we have work to do. We have souls to save. 23.
When he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him, and behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?
Because they're all spirit. And Messiah is Adon over spirits. And I'm going to read 26 in the Hebrew translation. So Yasha said to them, Why are you afraid with small faith? Then he rose up and commanded. So just as comparing, it says, he rebuked the winds. I like this because he commanded the winds and the sea that they should become quiet. Love it. That's exactly what he did. He stood up and said, stop. And immediately there was a great calm in the sea. Adon over all spirits indeed. Continuing, verse 28 through 34.
And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from them, and heard of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their ways into the city, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coasts.
So we see that in these chapters, we see Messiah casting out demons. And then in the same chapter, we see him, and even title here, we see before this, we see he has power over, it says power over nature, but we have to have understanding over the sea and the water. In the book of Revelation, it mentions that Babylon is the multitude of water. So when you put in perspective, water throughout scripture, from parting the Red Sea, mentioned this in multiple studies, that is symbolic of evil. That's why Leviathan, king of the pride, habitates in the water. Mystery Babylon is symbolic of water. For them to leave captivity, he had to part the water. We'll see later on in the gospel portions, he walks on water. We see he commands the water to be quiet from a storm. And then we see that he casts out demons into swine, an unclean animal, and then they run into water. Very reoccurring theme throughout the word. Even when you go to the very beginning of the Bible, chapter 1, verse 1, that there was just waters before there, and then there was light, and then there was land, and etc. But that's a whole nother study. But let's look into 30. Let's go to Enoch, talking about these demons that's in the animal, the pig that ran in the water. These demons are giants. And we see that this is their habit, this is where they live. This is their habitat, the habitation, excuse me, that's what the word. This is their habitation, is the waters. And we go to Enoch 14, 5 and 7. We see this is why the angels are being judged. And from henceforth, you shall not ascend into heaven, talking to the angels, unto all eternity. And in bonds of the earth, the decree has gone forth to bind you for all days of the world. In that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, giants, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Obviously, this is talking about the flood. And your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all words contained in the writing which I have written. And then also in the book of Enoch, it speaks about the women that chose to mate with the angels that brought forth giants, also are called sirens, aka mermaids, which live in the water. So the pigs ran into the water because they were literally going home. That's where they live from the time of the flood until now, which is the judgment going on in chapter 14 of Enoch right here. All right, so this concludes chapter 8. We're going to finish off with one last parable in Mark that is not in the book of Matthew. And he said, so is the kingdom of Elohim as if a man should cast seed into the ground and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow, and he knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth in the sickle, because the harvest is come. And this is what I was referencing to before about the end time harvest. This is what the end time harvest is about. The harvest has come full, and now he will put it to the sickle. And he will take some, and he will take the few, which will be good fruit, which he take it from the harvest, and then the rest he will be tossed into the fire, which brought no fruit or bad fruit. And we know that we should be trees that bring forth fruits, which is stated in Psalms 1:1-3. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the Torah, law of the Most High. This was a pretty big part of this Torah portion. We was reading on those not knowing him and those walking and doing in iniquity, that are breaking the Torah. And all of it is about bringing forth fruit. It is through faith in Messiah. Those are the real saints, faith in Messiah and keeping the true Torah, because we delight in his Torah, and in his law does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So when it's time for the harvest, you better be bringing forth good fruit, which is not just keeping the Torah, it's keeping faith in Messiah and doing it with the actual good heart, not with a heart to be elevated above others, but with a good heart to lead people in the right direction and to walk as Messiah walked, loving thy neighbor as thyself. And this concludes week 4, part 4 of our gospel portion. Next week will be chapters 9 and 10. Thank y'all for joining me, and shalom.